divine presence is here. Being born into an essence of a new artifact of your rebirth into this new golden age era paradigm where your reincarnation transmutes the purest essence of your heart. Wow. It is now time for your rebirth in this new age and paradigm. Now, the question of rebirth is something that is so essential and pivotal to us in this now time. You see, as we go through the great awakening shifting from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age, we are all being spiritually awakened and now reincarnating into our present day form. Now, you may not fully understand this very topic of rebirth and reincarnation, but let me enlighten you further into what this truly means and signifies for us during this time. You see, rebirth and reincarnation can be interchanged, into its own definition. It's simply meaning that the process of being reborn again, the cycle, as in Buddhism context by Buddha himself, the great spiritual teacher who walked this earth during great shifts and great eras, enlighten us further in the sense that we here as divine souls and vessels have taken many life forms into being reincarnated due to, going through all life cycles through karmic transitions where we had to be born again into a physical body to go through life, to go through, this process to pretty much come to terms with all our karmic patterns and get a chance to relive and respawn and to just balance the scales once again. Well, in order for you to fully understand this, we have to delve really deep into this discussion and see the significance itself of what rebirth and reincarnation signifies. You see, the process of reincarnation, as we were taught, shows us that we often have to take, this rebirth cycle of going into the non-physical paradigms of death, where we became fully unconscious and our soul lives, in its non-physical state, in a state of consciousness. And we were, in fact, given a chance to come back into each different life cycle and paradigm and be born again. But what we are beginning to see is that during this present day and time of our great awakening stage, we, in fact, are being reincarnated in our very own divine body vessels. Now, I could share just a brief, experience of my own process of reincarnation during this lifetime. You see, I, in fact, had gone through a stage of death, through having my own, sickness during this lifetime. And my process involved, going through a death stage during a surgery that I had. And my soul was given the opportunity to decide, do you want to come back during this lifetime to fulfill your divine mission and destiny during this lifetime? Or do you want to be, reincarnated into another lifetime? Well, I, of course, chose to come back and be reincarnated into my very physical body vessel, because I knew that this great shift was something that my soul had decided many eons ago to be part of, to help make this transition during to this great golden age paradigm. So as we continue to delve a little bit further into seeing the great significance of each and every one of our rebirth and reincarnation during this lifetime, we of course have to go in depth into, studying or pretty much our life cycles and the stages that we are now going through a great shift and evolution of the earth into this golden age paradigm. Now, where we are currently sitting at is going through a Piscean age, which could just be collectively noted as being a state of a dark age. Now, you may question, what does the dark age signify? Well, we could go back just through eons and eons of time and just look at the life cycle of Jesus Christ himself, where the symbolic nature of his life and the perspective and stories that were told about him showed that he made a decision, and a mission to bring forth Christ consciousness into this world. Now, in order to fully go in depth, we have to pretty much relate it to our cosmic universe. We have to see that, wow, as I presented before, all of us being incarnated into this body vessel are really stars, and we in fact have what we call our life cycle through great written texts of astrology. And if we go forth and look into our birth chart, we can fully understand, what exactly we decided to incarnate in during this lifetime, what lessons we came here to learn, because we all had past lifetimes, and where are we trying to move forward, in other words, what destiny have we just pretty much taken forth to decide for ourselves. So in correlation with Jesus' life, we look just into mystical teachings. We will see that Jesus, born as a mystic, was able to shift through great space and time, and from source or creator source, being born into this lifetime, was able to just, receive the divine frequencies from our creator, to transmute it and to bring forth, the great teachings of what life itself is truly all about. Showing great unconditional love to each other in this world. And at a time where they were great, like we're going through now, wars, people fighting over for just material gains, Jesus pretty much incarnated to say, wow, it is just not all about that. We pretty much decided to come here to enjoy this life experience. Whatever trials and tribulations we had gone through during previous time, is to show us that we as star beings came here to take this incarnation to see what it would be to experience love. You see, as over souls, our souls just lives in non-physical reality that could travel through dimensions and spaces and time, but we collectively agreed to come here in human form to experience life. And so when we begin to be attached to only just the material possessions, Jesus came forth and pretty much prescribed that, wow, we came here to inherit the earth with an essence of love. Now, we will now shift gears to show that, wow, this great dark age was a very shadowistic essence. By that I mean, I'm trying to correlate to you that in a greater cosmic universe, of course, we see that our universe is made up of structures of light and structures of darkness. through, all its chemical compositions of a gaseous nature, we see that even just our stars or planets or galaxies in a visible format, we could see that, the dark side, and we could see the light side. We take example, the sun presents us with light, the moon. Then we look at just, other particles out there, and we see that we have daylight and we have nighttime. Now, of course, we see that when it becomes nighttime, it's truly much the earth just orbiting around the sun, the galaxies, and we are away from the light features out there in the cosmic universe. So, in a symbolic essence, we in our great Piscean dark age had to pretty much live out this lifetime, showing a shadowistic side, the parts of us that we may feel as unacceptable. Examples of that: greed, rage, just anger, and wanting to just be in a combative state where we're not fully in our essence of unconditional love towards ourselves and towards each other. So we begin to see that, wow, as much as this dark age presented us with so many different trials, so many different tribulation, persecution, and just, so much going on right now, we begin to see that in our cosmic universe, we are now, in fact, in the beginning. And for every ending, we now transition into a new beginning. You see, we are now at that pivotal stage where we have to let go of the essence of time. You see, time was created, through our own life cycle, as I mentioned before, Saturn being the lord of time. And as we go back to just look at it from an astrological cosmic perspective, we see that from the great conjunction during 2020, when Saturn and Jupiter, of course, aligned together at 0 point, we are in fact now in that stage of 0 point. Now, in our material world, what does that mean? 0 point where we have to rebirth everything. If we look at what's going on now in this world, we see we are being 0 pointed in a material world. Financial markets being crashed, going down, going into a new way of living, technological advancements where we no longer want to deal with paper money and we want it to be all electronic. We're seeing that just our Capricorn structures are breaking down. The way, our political governments have run our nations, it's being restructured. We are in fact seeing that religious organizations are being torn apart, and we are beginning to get a close, higher dimensional view of what these structures were truly formulated on. You see, we will in fact begin to see that, wow, as much as it's been a trying time, that creation is never just like a easygoing process. It usually involves a lot of chaos, a lot of pressure, just a lot of disequilibrium. As I've stated before, think of labor and delivery. So much pain, so much pressure. When that baby's finally born, it's just the most beautiful story. So sit back and relax and enjoy this great presentation that I bring forth to you into fully understanding the significance of your rebirth and your reincarnation during this great golden age shift during your present. So in order to fully understand, wow, why would we choose to in fact be reincarnated into a very physical body, when usually, as Buddha himself taught us, We usually choose to go in the state of the unconscious world and live in other paradigms and do all great soul's work and come back again as babies to learn our karmic lessons. Well, you see, this is a very pivotal transition, you know. And many of us, you know, we here are truly star seeds and light workers who have come here to pretty much take this transition into a great golden age paradigm, because we've gone through many experiences and lifetimes where we have sacred knowledge of what the unfoldment is all about. And as I delve deeper, I will further enlighten you into the topic of esoteric knowledge and esoteric wisdom. Well, what is that? The esoteric studies from the Greek word esotero truly means inner. It is truly inner secret knowledge, usually formulated or given to, you know, a smaller group who are usually going through their initiation stage, whether it's through a religious group or just certain, you know, cultural groups out there who truly want to fully understand the sacred knowledge of the universe. Now, for you to even further understand that, the most significant esoteric knowledge out there is in fact astrology. You see, astrology was written eons and eons of ages. You know, it was first written by the Greek, you know, the Romans, you know, so many who lived during this lifetime and received divine wisdom, you know, we could say from source or creator essence of what this cosmic life is all about. And in fact, they put together a great astrological system. Be it just birth charts, you know, each and every signified explanation of the great transits, you know, that we are now going through. For example, we could see that, wow, the Great Conjunction is indeed teaching us the esoteric knowledge that from 2020, during our time cycle right now, we have been zero pointed. And as we go through this great karmic stage, we are showing how we are being transitioned into this golden age. So, why in fact was this secret knowledge developed? You see, for many eons of time, we as human beings chose to be separated from our divine sense of essence. You see, we are truly made in the image and likeness of source, and so through our karmic stages, we tend to see that we became so attached to the essence of the material world, like I use for example, just money and possessions, and just fully recognizing ourselves as just human beings. We begin to have this separation clause from us being divine vessels and truly source. We stepped away even in understanding our cosmic world. You know, we could just look at the example. We chose to forget who we truly were, you know, and as we are now in the Piscean age, the dark age, we fully, all of us collectively, we've presented ourselves with just seeing ourselves as having this dark shadowistic side where we were taught to live in conditions and presenting ourselves that were just not in our best interest and our nature, truly to learn our life's lessons. Well, so the esoteric wisdom is now teaching us that, wow, there's so much that we don't know about the universe. You see, everything is interconnected. Even in astrology, we could see that all planets could be correlated to, you know, not just using it as medicine, but saying like, wow, you're going through this great transit right now. What is it that you could see the significance of this planet? let's take for example just, this great juniper tree. How is this juniper tree connected in astrology? Whether it's a certain sign, juniper in nature, as I've done for my own research, is very good for just taking off a lot of like fluids from the body. You have excess fluid in your feet, just certain parts of your legs. You also have to recognize that, wow, just like medicine, everything have its certain good attributes and its bad attributes. So using this example of juniper to say, wow, I'm gonna heal my feet. Maybe I have certain excess fluids and toxins and heavy metals from all these, quote unquote pharmaceuticals and, other stuff that they have put into our body vessels since we have been born into this lifetime. So it's to show that everything is interconnected. How are we able to become one with our nature spirits now as great shamanistic creatures here, to be able to transmute and transform into a grace and essence here as we shift into the golden age? Now, as I delve further into just esoteric knowledge and wisdom, we have seen that through this shift, many of us are remembering past lifetimes during Atlantis, which was in fact another golden age, and we in fact were so close to shifting into a golden age based on just equality and an egalitarian society. But we get so caught up with the material possessions and losing power and not being one with source that, we pretty much took this nation down and this society down and let it be casted into the underworld, the significance of, the ocean itself, and we see that, wow, we're beginning to shift. So we get a chance to make it right and do it right. Some of us were born during primitive times, during great ancient Egyptian times, where we were greatly connected to the deities and, sources, and we recognize that we ourselves are gods, meaning that we as the creatures of this divine source, we are one. We are being taught how to be co-creators of our lives once again. And so as we learn to remember these divine secret and ancient codes of this esoteric knowledge and wisdom, we begin to see that, wow, it is so pivotal in our present day shift. As we now get to see that, wow, we have been living in an era of great separation. Separation from our Creator, separation from each other, being separated based on religion, based on culture, based on races, based on just gender. So much separation. This new age and era is all about creating an essence of oneness. And so as we begin to merge back together for past, present, and future timelines, we're beginning to see how we are able to shift and travel through different dimensions, all during this present time. You see, we now are being taken into a very book of life, into the Akashic records, not just on an individual perspective, but on a collective perspective to say, wow, we know that we came here to create a new kingdom here during this great shift on earth, because it affects us all during the cosmic universe, the other stars, the other planets, the other galaxies. You see, we have been separated even through consciousness and knowing. We are now in a time of a great shift of the age of Aquarius, the great age of knowing, the water bearer stage, where we are able to co-create not just with our intellect and our mind, but but also with our emotion as signified by the astrological sign of Aquarius. You see, it's now a time when we're calling back all parts of ourselves to be fully rebirthed into our physical vessel. Because let's just look at it this way. Going into the death stage, as you know, some have left and some will choose to be reincarnated here as babies. It may just be too much for us to go into the afterlife, which is just truly another dimension of consciousness where we're not in a physical body, but our soul lives on forever. But we are in a rapid stage of our ascension, of being one with Source again. And so it may, if you quote unquote look at it through just time, you know, it may be too much for us to go back and go through that whole life cycle. So we chose, you know, this is what the Great Awakening is all about. To truly, you know, be rebirthed again. Wow. This present future timeline is truly just in the now, being separated from different dimensions of this so-called time. You see, time is non-existence in the non-ordinary physical world. But as human beings, we chose to be incarnated, where through our 3D dimensional structures, we needed to live in a systematic era where we were doing stuff based on system and structures and routines that no longer is necessary. Now, as I present this great presentation to you, I see that we are heading into an egalitarian society. What does that truly mean? Egalitarian signifies where we are all made equal, no matter what our quote-unquote identity represents. We are headed forward into a classless structure and society where we are all equal as one. Meaning that we no longer live in a separation stage based on religion, based on, you know, gender, based on race, based on ethnicity, all of the separation causes that have existed in this world. You see, we are no longer wanting to live in a stage where it's built on a caste system. Now, let me take you back during ancient times. I, for one, have the remembrance of being present during my ancient Egyptian times. And so, you know, during this time, we, you know, look at the pyramid as significance. We build structures, you know, based on just these 3D structures. And a lot of it, we build these great dynasties and, you know, we built it based on separation, you know, and classes and, you know, those who were considered, you know, the great pharaohs of this time, being of higher status than the other people here on earth. Well, we are doing it once more. We are now seeing and connecting the dots and seeing, wow, we no longer want to live like this. We no longer want to be separated from Source, as we know we are true divine deities that could continually co-create, because we have the creative juice that's DNA coded within us. We begin to see that, wow, the egalitarian structure is about all of us. When we say equality, we are being shown that we all have the opportunity to all experience life on the same equal level. So what does that mean? materially, we are now being shown that we have to now come together individually first through our great awakening stage. As you know, we've seen that this is a great shift of healing. You know, the symbolic nature of the Piscean itself, of being the great healer, where we are all being asked to heal ourselves individualistically on an emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical level. Quote unquote, what this whole, I would say, this whole pandemic is of a spiritual nature. And as we go back to even understanding esoteric wisdom and knowledge, we see that it was all preordained and written in the book of life of our collective Akashic record. You see, we begin to see that this is just a little tiny bit of what we have to truly experience here. You see, we are beginning to see that, yes, we are human beings, but we have to fully awaken to who we truly are as co-creative cosmic beings and collect fully to galactic star nations and brothers and sisters all over this cosmic and galactic universe. So, no longer are we expected to live in societies being separated through just, you know, three-dimensional races, religion, political views, ethnicities, you know, groups and sects and all of these different stuff. Individually, once we truly transmute and recognize, wow, who am I really? This great spiritual being, this oversoul coming here to experience life as a human being. It's not to say that, wow, the materialness of life is no longer good. It's to say that, wow, as co-creators, we helped build all of this. We helped co-create all of this. You see, the land that we are now walking, sitting, laying on, we helped co-create all of this. You know, all of the foods, you know, we use technology to advance so much and become civilized. We used it to create transportation for ourselves. We used it to build physical homes for ourselves. You know, we did so much. And now it's not to say about inequality. So let's take, for example, just a typical caste system. You have the monarchies, the royalties, who mostly signifies power and, you know, maybe having all the material, monetary resources. You know, you have the politicals, you know, just through familial lineage, having all of the material success and aspects of this world. No, it is now for each and every one of us to experience and enjoy. Do we want to continue to see some just, you know, living in quote unquote poverty and hunger and just in areas where there's little to nothing, you know, people just dying because of starvation, and people living in areas of just war, why some, you know, can just enjoy and have everything and just live way above their means, being able to just have all the riches and possessions in the world that, you know, sometimes is even too much for them to handle. So we are now being taken back to say, wow, we are now co-creating a brand new age here on earth, going back into the past ancient time as being initiates right now, and understanding we have to understand this great esoteric knowledge that was only given to, you know, secret groups, you know, to understand the greater cosmic universe. You see, they understood this great occult wisdom, you know, and kept it for themselves in order to use this to create dominion and power over others. But no, this great occultic knowledge is being dispersed in front of all of us to be able to truly see and know who we truly are. First thing that I bid to you is to learn your birth chart and to understand your present day life cycle here on earth. And you may go back into ancient time. You may say, wow, I'm at this present moment now. The shift that I'm trying to get to, where is it that I'm trying to go? So you reflect on past lifetimes. You reflect on just even doing your own research and studying different civilizations at different times. Like I said, the great Atlantic era, the great ancient times during, great Egyptian paradigms. And we get to see that, wow, these were so pivotal during transitions because it helped us see that the shadowistic side, the dark age, let material possessions get to their head and not see that as true co-creators. We could keep on regenerating. So it's to say that on an equal level, we all have equal access. And for not us to live in greed, we have gone through so many different lifetimes and incarnation. Now, for most of us here, like I said, the great star seeds and light workers, we have gone through so many different lives, and that we now, and I could attest to that as my own life story, going through hundreds of lifetimes and having so much different experiences as I reflect back on so many of mine. It's to simply say that, wow, during some of my past lifetimes, as I've said, during Atlantis, during my Egyptian era, I may have been on that path, but, I probably had let the material possessions get to me because, I quote unquote maybe had just followed the trend. And as we were born into this lifetime as true leaders and legends, we in fact begin to see that, wow. So symbolically we see that we are learning to create balance during this time because symbolically we are in fact in the sign of Libra right now, which is all about creating equilibrium and balance. And we see that on a collective scale, we are being kind of like going through this great story, as we see the signs everywhere. This great dream story that we were kind of living in, that we're rebalancing the scales in all of our relationships, and we're beginning to restructure it in a way that, wow, we no longer can live in a stage of separation, in a stage of disequilibrium, in a stage where, wow, it is just so unequal. We are now collectively coming together in the now to make this great transition into a present, future timeline to see. As a galactic society, we want to live in harmony with each other. We want to be one as we continue to co-create and regenerate ourselves from a divine essence as our creator source, where we are balancing the scales of the material and the spiritual world. So I urge you to just see this significance for your great rebirth and reincarnation during this lifetime as very essential and critical during this time. Ask yourself the question, wow, I have been living in this dream spell, as we see, like I tell you, this great esoteric and occultic knowledge that was hidden away from many of us. we are bringing it forward into the open to recreate and reimagine this mystical spell and create a new dream where all of us have become one with each other on an equal level. So, as true creators and divine deities here on earth, I ask you to go through your experiences, your hardships, your trial, your karmic lessons that you came here to learn, and recreate your story into one where, on an individual level, you experience your greatest essence of life. You know, in astrology, we have what we call the symbolic essence of Lilith, which, as I presented to you, going through this great dark shadowistic stage, and it was all written of showing your shadowistic side, stuff that you may have experienced through past lifetimes, maybe not even through your own, should I say, your own deeper essence within. Maybe it could just be from being a follower, of wanting to fit in and living in society where you simply survive. But you simply move forward into your new now time to take yourself to that place to see, like, wow, collectively we are merging together as one, and the disequilibrium can take us forward into the purest essence that we truly decided to become. So step forward into your soul's essence and to your dharmic life cycle. Follow your North Star and truly gather all the esoteric knowledge that you could have to understand where you came from, where you are now, and where you are going. So wow, I am truly touched to be part of teaching you some of this great wisdom as we shift through the ages. And I understand that the journey may not be easy, because I too, as a human being on a day-to-day basis in this material world, I go through my own challenges and experiences, but I know it's all a part of my growth, all a part of my rebirth, and the destiny, that mission that I've chose for myself. I knew this is all part of it. So continue to rock on and just go forward as true warriors and co-creators, because it is about you first, but most and foremost, it is about collectively all of us building this golden age era that shifts and benefits us all. So rock on, my dear brothers and sisters on this earth. You are truly doing amazing. Just continue to thrive on through into your most supreme being here on earth. I truly love each and every